Section 25. Legal Hotline Q&A, Fair Housing Practice in the Market. Final wrap-up. Introduction. Bringing it all together. You've made it to the final section, and this is where everything connects. Every law, every scenario, every mistake we've discussed throughout this course comes down to one thing: how you act in real-life situations. In 2026, fair housing compliance is not optional. It is the foundation of your business, your license, and your reputation. This final legal hotline section is designed to reinforce the most important lessons, because these are the exact situations that agents face every day. Let's walk through them and tie everything together. Scenario 1. Advertising single only in an owner-occupied property. A licensee wants to advertise a studio apartment for a single tenant only, believing the owner-occupied exemption allows it. The answer is no. Even when exemptions apply to certain property types, discriminatory advertising is never allowed. The Fair Housing Act clearly prohibits advertising that indicates a preference or limitation based on protected classes. Additionally, when a real estate licensee is involved, many exemptions no longer apply. The takeaway: you can never advertise in a discriminatory way, regardless of the situation. Scenario 2. Refusing a buyer in a wheelchair. A seller refuses to allow a buyer in a wheelchair to view their home because of concerns about carpet damage. The answer is no. This is a violation. Both Arizona law and the Fair Housing Act prohibit denying access to a property based on disability. Refusing to allow a showing is considered making the property unavailable. This is one of the clearest violations we've discussed. The takeaway: access must be provided equally to all buyers, regardless of disability. Scenario 3. Refusing an offer for a rehab home. A buyer submits an offer stating the property will be used as a drug and alcohol rehabilitation home. The seller refuses. The answer is no. This is likely a violation. Under fair housing laws, individuals recovering from drug or alcohol addiction are considered part of the disability-protected class, as long as they are not currently using illegal substances. Refusing to sell based on this intended use is discrimination. The takeaway: you cannot deny housing based on protected class status, even if it relates to how the property will be used. Scenario 4. Buyer requests a pool fence for children. A buyer with small children requests that the seller install a pool fence. The seller refuses. Is this a violation? Probably not. Fair housing laws do not require sellers to make improvements to a property to accommodate buyers. This is an important distinction. Fair housing protects access, not negotiation terms. The takeaway: not every request tied to a protected class must be granted if it involves changes to the property. Scenario 5. Disclosure of a rehab home in the neighborhood. A seller knows there is a drug rehabilitation group home in the neighborhood. Must this be disclosed? The answer is no, and in fact, it is prohibited. Because individuals in recovery are considered part of the disability-protected class, disclosing their presence could be considered discriminatory. This is one of the most important distinctions in this course. Some information must be disclosed, some information must not be disclosed. The takeaway: never disclose protected class information, even if asked. Final lessons. The patterns behind every violation. If you look back at every section in this course, you'll notice a pattern. Most violations happen when agents make assumptions about people, try to help in ways that cross legal lines, fail to remain neutral, do not understand where the law applies. The law is not trying to make your job harder. It is designed to ensure fairness and equal opportunity. The Golden Rules of Fair Housing, 2026 Standard. As you move forward in your career, remember these core principles. Treat every client the same. Use objective, fact-based communication. Avoid any reference to protected classes. Provide equal access to all properties. Follow consistent policies and procedures. When in doubt, stop and seek guidance. If you follow these rules, you will dramatically reduce your risk. Your role as a professional. You are not just a salesperson. You are a professional operating within one of the most regulated industries in the country. Your actions impact your clients, your brokerage, your community, your career. In 2026, the agents who succeed are the ones who combine knowledge, ethics, and consistency. Final thought: don't just comply, lead. This course has given you the tools to stay compliant, but the best agents go beyond compliance. They lead by example. They educate their clients, they protect the public, they elevate the industry. That is the standard you should strive for. Online discussion. Question 1. Why can't a licensee advertise single only even in an owner-occupied property? Answer: because discriminatory advertising is prohibited under the Fair Housing Act, regardless of exemptions. Question 2. Why is refusing a buyer in a wheelchair a violation? Answer: because it denies access to housing based on disability, which is prohibited under fair housing laws. Question 3. What is the key takeaway about disclosure of protected class information? Answer: it should never be disclosed, even if a client asks.